Expect some overtaking, in particular in the early laps. It's about to get underway for the first time this season. They're maintaining 2x2 formation as they come up to the line, and the lights are out and away they go then. And heading down towards Redgate Corner for the first time, it is Andrew Fido, but it's the Mattel up on the inside. It's about 2/3 of the width of the leading Radical. It isn't leading anymore though, and it spins. Andrew Fido spins, and there's cars going either side of him. Couple travelling through the gravel, 3 or 4 of them through the gravel. So the pole position driver out of the race, and having another spin there is Mark Grayson. I think they've just about avoided contact there, but that was a little bit messy. So Fido, the spinner, initiating all of that. There's Shane Stoney. He's going to second place already at the expense of the number 19 car of James Keeville, but it is Charles Hall in the Mattel that leads.
That's right. Leon Morrell was the one who was, I think, fairly cautious at the start. He said to me he was going to be cautious. It's a long race. I don't think that message was really sent to Charles Hall and Shane Stoney. They're through from the beginning. There is Morrell. I think perhaps he got caught up in that spin. He's further back here. I think he even went from where he started. He's not in the same class though as the top two, so perhaps realising not needing to push on because of that. So here come the leaders. Stoney's already with Mattel, as Ian Mattel was telling us before the race. They're very different looking cars, these two machines. The MC41R, Charles Hall, who won majority of the races last year. Meanwhile, a spinner there is
Andrew Hurst.
That's right, yes.
At the moment there in the blue Radical.
And James Keeville for the pit lane, the driver who was, I think, in third position.
Stoney's into the lead. Hall is trying to fight back, though, as they go into Redgate for the second time. But Stoney, fastest in qualifying by 1.8 seconds, has now got into the lead. He's already starting to show Charles Hall a clean pair of heels there. And then the gap back to third place, which is a spin for the ADR of Daniel Wrigglesworth. He'll be able to continue. It's Philip Brown in the number 11 car in third. I think Peter Tyler, number 80, is in fourth position.
Yes, and it's Brown that leads Class B for those standard engine cars. You mentioned Charles Hall working at the wheel. Oh, we've got Peter Tyler off the road now. Regular in the Radical Cup, Peter Tyler. I think making his Bikesports debut possibly today, but he's on the grass. Tricky conditions, perhaps wetter than some drivers may have thought it would have been. There is Philip Brown then, who is, I think, in third position in his SR3 RSX, as a lot of the Class B cars are, and he is being chased now by Leon Morrell, who started the lap about 3 seconds behind him, so he's a lot quicker at this stage. Meanwhile, Shane Stoney goes up across the line and sets a 1 minute 14.1. And that is, I think, to be quicker than he went in qualifying, Ian.
Yeah, 1:13.8 in fact in qualifying, so nearly. about 3/10 outside that. But give it time. I'm sure he will indeed go faster. And a problem there for number 17. That's Miles Drew, the local driver from Nottingham. He's had a spin coming out of the Robert chicane just adjacent to the pit lane entrance there. So hopefully he'll be able to get going. But Shane Stoney, meanwhile, at the end of lap 2, leads by just over 3 seconds, and then there's about another 5 seconds between Charles Hall, number 77, and Philip Brown, the Class B leader. Leon Morrell's up to second place within Class B. He made up 3 places on that lap, and he was only just over a tenth behind Brown at the start of the lap. He might be through by now.
Peter Tyler's got back going from that spin. He's there in 12th position after rejoining the 64-year-old from Brighton. Been racing for a decade now. He's in the SR3 XXR. That's the latest model of Radical.
I think Morrell probably is through, by the way, as we're looking at the number 18 car. That's the SR1 of Sam Shaw.
19-year-old from Hampshire in a 2022 model of Radical SR1, ex-Ben Casey and Oscar Joyce car, so a successful car run by DW Racing, and he runs in 7th place, much higher than he qualified.
Miles Drew still not going. He's up against the barriers there on the inside or the outside of the circuit.
One driver who's progressed from starting outside the top 8 is Alana Carter. She's up into 5th position. The Canadian who raced in GT Cup last year, I think was the first ever person to race a Lotus Emira GT4 car worldwide, and now she makes her Bikesports debut. Qualified outside the top 8, she's up into 5th and catching Philip Brown.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. Brown has lost out on the Class B lead to Leon Morrell, which is not a surprise. Leon Morrell, last year's champion. Actually, Morrell has pulled out about 4 seconds over Philip Brown already. but he's not lapping as quick as the two leaders, the two Class A cars. They are in different classes. Points are scored within the individual classes rather than the overall finishing position. There has been a change to the regulations, though, in terms of the point scoring, because now you only need at least 3 starts in your class to pick up maximum points rather than 6, because that is something that did kind of come into play at times last season, although I think it did balance it out over the course of the year.
Plenty of cars here, though, today.
Yes.
Alana Carter, possibly the only driver to win a Canadian Dirt Late Models Championship to race with the 750 Motor Club, and she is catching Philip Brown down in towards the Robert chicane. So the gap at the start of the lap was 1.6 seconds, possibly a little bit less than that now, and they're already into lap traffic, aren't they? That's Andrew Hurst who had that spin a little bit earlier on, but Carter was over a second quicker on that previous lap, having her first race in a Radical, very different to the car that she raced last year, and even more different to what she raced back in Canada a few seasons ago.
Yeah, so this is the battle for 4th place. It's also for 2nd place in Class B. Alana Carter there in the RSX, Philip Brown in the RSX as well. Turning their way through the old hairpin, making their way now up towards Starkey's Bridge. Andrew Hirsch was the next car coming through there. Here they are at Schwantz Curve, named for the motorcycle ace.
On the last lap, Leo Morel was 5 seconds quicker than Charles Hall. Possibly yellow flags and traffic slowed Stoney and Hall on that last lap. But we'll keep an eye on that, whether Leo Morel, although he's in a different class, can go after the top 2 overall.
Yeah, there's yellow flags, isn't there, down into the chicane because of that Miles Drew car that has spun. So if they got a back marker just going into that would have probably cost them quite a few seconds. So that would have compressed the gap a little bit temporarily. Yeah,
because the cars towards the rear of the field are 20 seconds slower. That shows you how tricky the conditions are. You've got some very quick drivers at the front, less experienced drivers on the field, on the track as well. I think we heard from Yusuf, who spoke to someone who said they jumped into the deep end racing one of these cars early in their career. Here's the battle, though, for 4th position between Philip Brown and Alana Carter. I think Carter's in the Formula woman-backed car, isn't she, that was unveiled at the Autosport International Show in January, programme that brought her to the UK last year. And then Shane Stoney are lapping the cars that are battling over 14th and 15th positions. Ian Charles is one of those, and Mark Grayson the other, and they're side by side now as they head down here towards the Robert chicane. Grayson, the 50-year-old from London, who started racing back in 2015, goes through ahead of Ian Charles, a long-time 750 Motor Club racer. Yeah,
and Grayson involved in the delays on the opening lap as well, so he's coming back from that. Talking of delays on the first lap, Andrew Fido's 8th at the moment, isn't he? So we're watching Peter Tyler slice his way past Stephen Larkin, who's already been a race winner this season at Kirkiston. Was that last weekend, I think it was, in the Northern Ireland Motorsports Championship. So Stephen Larkin, a regular at Kirkiston.
Just been passed by the driver who spun on lap 1, Peter Tyler. So Tyler back into the top 10. How high up the order can he get, I wonder? He now gets another as he goes past Doug Carter, another long-time racer, 2017 Class A champion, a 3-time Burkitt Relay winner. The next car on Tyler's list is a lapped car. That's Andrew Hurst, so that's no problem. Through he goes. He's up into 9th position now, going with Andrew Fido. So 2 spinners on the first lap, progressing together, Ian.
Yeah, absolutely right. As we're watching Doug Carter go through, he's got Charles Graham just behind him now as the pack has shuffled.
Yeah, so you've got a couple of Burkitt Relay winners together here.
Yeah.
Carter, who won in 13, 14 and 16. Graham, more recently, in 2019 and 21.
Yeah, Charles Graham, the boss of Daytona Motorsport. And yeah, I could say regular at the Burkitt Relay race as well in recent seasons. Shane Stoney has actually done a better lap than the one on screen. He's done a 1:14.135, so he's still not quite below his qualifying time, interestingly. And I guess that might just be the matchup of the tyres and the setup to these particular conditions, which are probably in some ways the trickiest of all now, but it's just a bit greasy, isn't it, rather than necessarily full wet. It's not streaming wet now.
We've seen how tricky it is. A number of cars have not been on the road throughout. Now, James Keevil, after pitting, is back out, isn't he? He's a couple or 3 laps behind, but is about the 6th fastest person in the race. So he may gain positions from 18th before the end. Now, Doug Carter versus Charles Graham down in towards the Robert chicane. You can see there the Class A car of Carter more powerful, stays ahead in a straight line compared to the Daytona Motorsport backed SR3.
Gets good exit out of the chicane. Does Graham? Is he going to be able to make a challenge to Redcar? No, I don't think he is. Doug Carter, long-time racer with the 750 Motor Club in Bikesports. Before that, in what was then RGB, he's now Sports 1000 as well. A drive from up in Cumbria, so does a lot of commuting for his racing with the 750 Motor Club. He's running in 9th place at the moment. This is the fight for 9th and 10th position. Heading down through the Craner curves. By the way, it is number 89, Shane Stoney, that still leads as these two get side by side into the old hairpin. Can Graham go all the way around the outside there? I think he has, you know. Yep, good move. So Charles Graham up into 9th place, Doug Carter down to 10th. It is, as I was saying, Shane Stoney, number 89, leading by 10 seconds from number 77, Charles Hall. And number 1, Leon Morrell, is 3rd, but he's not catching the top 2.
And there is Shane Stoney. He's just lapping this battle that we've been watching, which is the battle for 9th position. That is how quick Shane Stoney is going. He's consistently lapping in the 1:14s. That'd be the other reason. Perhaps the lap times aren't as quick. They have more fuel for this longer race, of course. And talking to Scott Mattel at the Sefton pre-season track day a few weeks ago, he was slightly concerned if the fuel tank in the Mattel would last 25 minutes. So the wet race might help that. Yeah. Because not using so much fuel in these conditions and lapping about 10 seconds or so off a dry time. But on the previous lap, Charles Hall did do a personal best, a 1 minute 15.0. That was still slower than Stoney did on the same lap. And we look at Shane Stoney now then, the 29-year-old from Yorkshire, who was also a Burkitt Relay winner. There's lots of them on the grid. He won in 2020, but he was the Radical SR1 champion back in 2019. He's twice been a Mini Challenge champion, and back in 2011 he won the Sax Max Championship. Yeah, so 13 years ago then that he won that. It'd been 16 at the time, I guess. When Sax Max, the Citroen Saxo-based tin top category race for junior drivers between 14 and 17 years of age. Well, this is quite a shock to see Shane Stoney with wrinkles when you were interviewing him just there. Anyway, we've got 16 and 55 doing battle here. So this is Carter and Daniel Headlam now who's caught her. So Carter's not been able to do anything about Philip Brown, and if anything, she's having to focus on defence here because Daniel Headlam is challenging. He was about 0.3 of a second faster on the last lap, and in terms of best laps, it's actually been nearly 2 seconds a lap faster, so possibly only a matter of time before Headlam finds his way up into the top 5 in a podium position for Class B as well. And the aim shot fastest lap goes to Shane Stoney. He's done it. He's into the 1 minute 13. So 1 minute 13.774. But incident there, which Alana Carter's got it caught up with, I think, the slower car of Andrew Hurst, who puts his arms up in the air. So I'm not sure he's terribly impressed about what happened. Not really sure what happened there. I think he went off on his own. I think Alana Carter kind of went off in sympathy. Now, how's she going to get this going with another car almost right in front of her? Yeah, that's the problem, isn't it? She would want to be heading there. The Road to Racing, you see on the side of the car, I believe it's a Canadian company that supports her. But I don't think she's going to be getting out the gravel particularly rapidly. It's very unfortunate that they've ended up in that particular position, both of those drivers. I think that probably is going to spell effectively the end of their races. So they're off in the gravel trap up at McLean's. We've got 11.5 minutes of the race left to go. Charles Hall, you've just seen going through the back of picture in second place. He's currently 14 seconds or so behind the race leader. There's Andrew Fido. He's up to 7th now after that spin on the first lap, which caused all kinds of chaos at Redgate. Peter Tyler had an incident of his own as well. So they're both recovering after early drama, and they are battling now over what will be 6th and 7th after the demise of Alana Carter. Albeit a lap down, I think, because Shane Stoney ahead of them on the road. I don't think he's going to lap everybody, but if we don't need an interruption, he may lap most. Well, he has lapped most, I guess. Lapped up to 4th, I should think. Dan Headlam now, he's cleared Alana Carter. She's in the gravel. He's not that far behind Philip Brown, 1.7 seconds. So that is a battle to look out for. Dan Headlam, the 31-year-old from Bedfordshire. Our hard-working Donington Park Marshals are trying to sort the situation out up there at McLean's. And we are going to get a safety car, I think, because this is going to take a lot longer than what would like to happen under local waved yellows. But a big thank you to all of the marshals here this weekend. I'm sure there was a number who were here on Friday and Saturday at another meeting.
Yes, absolutely.
And it's not, as we said earlier, it's not in the nicest morning. It's better now. Now the rain has stopped, but wouldn't be able to go racing without the marshals. They are a vital part of not just this race meeting, but every race meeting this weekend and throughout the country on every weekend of the year, on what is a busy season that we are looking forward to in 2024.
And 750 Motor Club are now renewing efforts to encourage marshals to take part in marshal at 750 Motor Club events. I think the raffle has returned. That was always a popular part of a 750 Motor Club meeting. It was paused during COVID and is now returning. But there are other sort of marshal perks as well. We do try to look after the marshals at 750 Motor Club because as Josh says, they're absolutely vital, and there's probably a diminishing number of them as well, and certainly more and more events for them to cover. So we're under caution here at Donington Park for the first time this season in the Radical Bikesports Championship. The leader, I can tell you, is number 89, Shane Stoney, in the yellow and black Radical PR6. Second is number 77, Charles Hall. So there's back markers directly behind the leader. 77, Charles Hall, is in second place in the Mattel MC 41R, number 77. Third is number 1, that's Leon Morel, the Class B leading car in the Radical SR3 RSX. Fourth is number 11, a similar car for number 11, Philip Brown. Fifth now is number 55, Daniel Headlam, another RSX. And then running out the top 6 is number 12, Andrew Fido, in the Radical SR3 RS. 7th is number 80, Peter Tyler. 8th is number 21, Charles Graham. 9th is number 5, Doug Carter. And it's Stephen Larkham, number 93, rounding out the top 10. The snatch vehicle is now on the scene up at Coppice. The ADR, by the looks of it, is down to into the pit lane. So that's the car of Daniel Wrigglesworth. It's prematurely pulling out of the race, I'm afraid to say, but it's nice to see that car out there, something a bit different. Hopefully he'll be back out for race 2. As Marshall just trying to give Alana Carter some directions away from the circuit to explain to her what's going to go on. And hopefully once that car is moved, it won't be quite such a drama to move the other car down there of Andrew Hurst. But we've only got 7 3/4 minutes of this race to go. We're going to get at least one more lap after this underneath the safety car.
It's been a very impressive drive by Shane Stoney, hasn't it? Pulling clear of Charles Hall, who won almost all of the races last year. He won 9 of the 12, and I think in a couple of them he didn't finish when he didn't win, and the other he was on slicks in a wet race. So Shane Stoney's doing a great job here, and to have someone like Richard Webb say, wow, that was an impressive qualifying session, someone who we've been impressed by many a times, how quick he can drive these types of car, and someone who's experienced like Shane Stoney but not driven this car very much, even more impressive. And so many people say how difficult the PR6s are to drive in these type of conditions. Shane said they're a lot more twitchy than the SR3. I think our colleague Marcus Pye always describes the PR6 as being more slippery through the air but don't have as much downforce as the SR3. So in these conditions, surely you'd think it might be it would suit the other cars. But Shane has impressed in that car.
Yep, certainly has. Meanwhile, Alana Carter's car had been hauled out of harm's way, and she's actually managed to get it back out onto the circuit. So it's now spinning gravel around the track, but she's back out on circuit at least.
I'm not overly convinced that's what their marshals were expecting, how they were watching on.
No.
But it is a quick way of getting rid of the car, isn't it? So we haven't got to pick that up later.
Absolutely. So is Andrew Hurst's car now out of the way as well? We'll find out in a moment. It's about to be out of the way.
So we are going to get a few laps then, aren't we, of racing? I think.
Yeah. We should certainly get some more racing action before the end. The sun is almost coming out as well, Josh, which is nice.
It's only brightened up during the course of our pit walkabout at lunchtime, which is good because it did start a little bit drizzly, but that didn't last too long, thankfully. So when may the circuit dry out during the course of the afternoon? That's what a lot of teams will be looking for, particularly in the Bikesports and the 750 Formula, where there's a choice of slick or wet tyres. I would imagine in the remaining categories which run on list 1 tyres, so treaded tyres, they'll be going to their drier tyre throughout the rest of the day, unless it rains again, of course.
Yeah, safety car lights still on at the moment. We'll see if they do manage to get them out and get this race underway at the end of this lap. We're working lap 14 of the race. We've got 5 minutes almost exactly left to go. And if they do get going this time, they'll probably get 3 laps, maybe 4.
I think the snatch vehicle's got to go back up to Coppice. So.
Yeah, that's the thing that might delay us. There's a lot of Carter still circulating, so she didn't just head to the pits. I think we're going to get one more lap behind the safety car, but it should now be a slightly quicker lap behind the safety car now that they know that the incident is essentially clear.
It's interesting though, the back straight looks pretty dry. Then turning into the chicane, there are puddles still around, so you certainly wouldn't want to be on slicks yet. Whether anyone will risk that in 750 Formula, unlikely I'd imagine, but we shall see.
So 4 minutes 18, safety car laps have been taking 10.5 minutes. I think we can get a little bit of time off that, so I reckon we'll get probably 2 more laps of racing, I would think, at the end of this.
Yeah, at least, I would think.
Depending on how quick this lap is, we might get a 3rd lap.
We mentioned the other cars got going as well, hasn't it? Suppose that is what the drivers were told, so continue. We mentioned how Daniel Wrigglesworth is making his racing debut here today. So is Ross Board, number 2, and he's having a better race. He's in 13th position, the 34-year-old from Devon, in another actually of the SR3 XXRs, the latest model of Radical. He's one of the drivers with RJ Motorsport, Josh Smith's outfit, that are running so many of the cars here this weekend. He posted about loading up on Saturday, I think, before testing yesterday. And again, Josh Smith, somebody else that's been a part of 750 World Cup racing for some years now.
A long time. He started as a teenager as well in RGB, as a 16-year-old, remember, racing alongside his father in that particular championship. But as you say, in recent times, he has been more focused on the preparation and running the team. We have seen him out on occasion, both with 750 Motor Club and at Castle Combe as well.
He did a full season, didn't he, a few years ago, and was a championship contender in Bikesports.
So it's certainly a noticeably quicker lap up behind the safety car this time, so I think we're all happy to see that the safety car is now going to sprint away with its lights off. Shane Stoney then effectively controlling the pace. How many cars are there between himself and Charles Hall? I think there's 3 cars, Charles Hall just hiding behind the timing tower for those of you watching the live stream. So Shane Stoney can try and make the best of this rolling restart. He's got Andrew Fido behind him. He's already gone, has Shane Stoney, so he's going to put a lot of daylight between himself and the rest. So the green flags wave with 2 minutes 14 to go. So yes, 2 laps it will be remaining in this Radical Bikesports Championship.
Now where the battle's going to come from, the battle before the safety car between Charles Graham and Doug Carter for 8th, they turn their way together into Redgate. There's Leo Morel, so there's a decent gap between the top 3. Philip Brown versus Daniel Headlam could be interesting, I think, because Headlam had been catching Brown for that position before the safety car period. Headlam, the 31-year-old from Bedfordshire, started off in Formula Ford 1600, but also raced in the what was known as BRDC Formula 4, which has basically become the GB3 Championship nowadays. He may have raced against George Russell around that period. I think he was in the championship. So can Dan Headlam get himself up into 4th position? We work through the spray because they're going to have plenty of cars to get through. Some of them who are braking later than others.
That's James Keeville, who was a bit leery through McLean's, to say the least, but he's kept it on the tarmac. So we're going to be starting the last lap next time through because we've got less than a lap time remaining in this race. There's Charles Hall, you can see, so he's our 2nd place man. He's worked his way ahead of Andrew Fido, who's a lap down in 6th position. And Shane Stoney's done another fastest top of the race, a 1:13.485 on that first fly lap. So conditions continuing to improve here at Donington Park. Last lap of the race then.
Yeah, car lightning as well as the fuel load comes down, and a clear track, which is probably the most important of those 3 things, I suspect.
Yes.
With how busy it was at times. This is the battle for 6th between Andy Fido and Peter Tyler. They're about to be lapped by Leon Morel. And we look back to the battle for 4th position at the back of this group. That is Philip Brown versus Daniel Headlam, also for 2nd in Class B. And Headlam looks to the inside. There's just about a Radical SR3 gap there, and Headlam goes through to take the position.
Yeah, so he goes 4th overall, as Josh says, 2nd in Class B as well. Quite a long way behind Leon Morel. He's not going to make that up in the remaining half a lap. We're almost down to 0 on the clock now. There's Philip Brown with the 19 car behind him of James Keevil, who is 2 laps behind them. Of course, he had that early pit stop. But here comes Shane Stoney through. He's going to take the checkered flag this time to win the Radical Bikesports Championship season opener. And it's been a dominant performance from him. Charles Hall was just about to cross the line to take 2nd place. He's done so 6.6 seconds behind. And then Leon Morel is in 3rd place. There he goes across the line to win Class B from, in 2nd place in that class, number 55 Daniel Headlam and number 11 Philip Brown, who complete the top 5.
And it was another aim shot fastest lap of the race for Shane Stoney on that last lap. Wasn't it 13.123? But Charles Hall was only 4/10 off. He got into the 13s at the end as well, as he found a bit of clear road to play with. A few more cars still to take the checkered flag, but a dominant performance there from Shane Stoney to win by 6.6 seconds in a shortened, restarted race after the safety car period. And if we get dry conditions later, I wonder what type of lap times they can do.
Be very interesting to see. The lap record we said earlier, 105.86 is kind of what we're aiming for these. Don't forget in the latest race we've got pit stops. Got pit stop penalties for the top 5 in this race, who were first number 89 Shane Stoney, who completed 17 laps in that 25-minute race, and he was 6.684 seconds clear of number 77 Charles Hall, who took 2nd place. In 3rd position it was number 1, that was Leon Morel, and he won Class B in his Radical SR3 RSX behind the Vittel MC41R of Charles Hall. 4th and 2nd in Class B was number 55 Daniel Headlam. 5th and 3rd in Class B was number 11 Philip Brown. 6th and 3rd in Class A was number 12 Andrew Fido. 7th was number 80 Peter Tyler. 8th was 21 Charles Graham. 9th was 93 Stephen Larkham, and running out the top 10 was number 5 Doug Carter, ahead of Samuel Shaw, Mark Grayson, Ross Board, and a couple of laps down James Keevil. And moving on to the next page, we can see that Ian Charles was 15th, and then having had that moment into the gravel at McLean's, Alana Carter was 16th, ahead of Andrew Hurst, with Daniel Ricklesworth and Miles Drew, the 2 retirements from that Radical Bikesports Championship race, and we'll see them out again later on at around about 5:10 this afternoon. So we look forward to that, and we already see down in the pit lane the drivers from that race, so we'll be hearing from them very shortly, I would think, with Yusuf. Next race that we're going to have coming up, though, is more sports racing connection, actually, but something a little bit different. The Race Part 750 Formula Championship, that's going to come up next, and then we've got the Carmel Porsche Trophy, the 40-minute race, will be coming up soon as well. So we're waiting to hand down to Yusuf. He'll be there in just a moment with our successful drivers. I think we'll hear from Shane Stoney and Charles Hall and Leon Morel, our Class B winner, at the end of that race. And the marshals there just checking the circuit, picking up any debris, but we'll leave them to it and head down to Yusuf in pit lane.
Well, I'm here with the race winner, Shane Stoney. Now, there was a bit of drama at the end of the race. Do you want to tell everyone what happened when you came into the pits?
Yeah, I went to stop, put it in neutral, and I've got no clutch. So my clutch pedal's just going to the floor and not doing the right lot. So that's going to be fun to move in a minute. But
how long do you have until the next race?
I think we're about 5:05, is it? Something like that. So yeah, that's we've got a bit of something to do. So we'll sort it. It'll be fine.
I'll try not to take up too much of your time then, because it might be every minute counts. When I spoke to you during the pit walk, you said you've not had a lot of running in the car.
Yep.
How does it feel out there? Because you looked absolutely rapid.
Yeah, it felt good. The car did feel good. We made a few changes. I don't actually think we went far enough with the changes that we made, so we still had the same issue we had in qualifying. Although the track is now getting to that sort of greasy, snotty stage where it gets slippier before it gets dry. So yeah, the car felt good. I mean, that was the longest run I've actually done in the car at this point. So yeah, we've had no end of issues and silly problems and all this kind of thing in testing. So yeah, to actually get out there, get pole and get a win, yeah, really pleased.
Absolutely fantastic stuff, and best of luck getting the clutch issue fixed in time for next race.
Yeah, we'll sort it. It'll be something or nothing, hopefully. But anyway, thank you very much. Cheers.
Well, that was our race winner, and I have found second place, which is, if I can just get my bearings, Mr. Charles Hall. Charles, how's it going? Looked fun out there.
It should be fun, and it wasn't fun. So the car was mega yesterday, and the lads have just pulled it out of the bag because we got 2 laps in qualifying, and the engine's just dropped a valve, a new engine. So we were like, oh no way. So I went, how fast, Scott? Can you change an engine? And he went, we'll find out. So it's got a new engine. It's wrong ECU for the engine, and the car wasn't tweaked right. So we were going out there, visor steaming up. So I sort of like had a lonely race, but a very eventful one.
Yeah, we saw you guys fixing that up, and you managed to get it done in time for the race. With that late safety car, was there a little thought playing in the back of your head, maybe you have a chance?
I did, and then I got balked on the. I got balked with the back markers between me and Shane, and to be honest, I was just wanting to get it home, and I'm happy with second. So it's a long. The championship's long. We always seem to be a bogey track here. Absolutely love it, but it's worked well. Car, bit of a tweak, and hopefully we'll give him a run on the race 2.
Best of luck for race 2.
Thank you.
Right, and our final driver then, and as well our winner in Class B, Leon Morel. Leon, how did you find the conditions out there?
Lovely. Perfect. Simply lovely. Yes.
I think most drivers have a slightly different definition of lovely.
Yeah, smooth operation, that one. So yeah, enjoyed it. No, solid. Car was mega, to be fair, absolutely mega. Boys didn't change a thing from qualifying, same everything, and it was just perfect the whole race. Could have gone a bit quicker if I wanted. Second I saw the safety car board, I just thought I better not throw this away because I knew that was going to bunch the entire field up behind me. I'd got like 20 seconds over a class position. I just thought if I drop this on the last lap and come 5th, I'm going to be heartbroken. So just bring it home. There's a lot of gravel at the top end of the track, a little bit loose, but yeah, no solid drive, and yeah, can't wish for much more. Really good start to the season.
Well, fantastic stuff with the Class B win, and best of luck for your next race.
No worries. Can I just wish my mechanic get well wishes? He's actually in the hospital. He had some problem yesterday and got rushed from here to there. So if you're watching, Lee, that one's for you, buddy. Get well soon.
Thank you very much, and lovely words to wrap up the interview. With that, we're going to head to a quick ad break because we have our next race starting very shortly.